Hello, this is KC7NYR, and in today's video I'm going to start VirtualBox and I'm going to install Patriot OS. And if you've never heard of Patriot OS, it is a Ubuntu installation for beginners to Linux, and it's designed for those who are past users of Apple. So let's check it out. So first of all, here is the VirtualBox Manager. Anytime you're starting a new installation, you just click on New, and we're just going to go Patriot OS. This is a 64-bit system, so we'll click down here and select Linux. And it's not Oracle, but anytime you install, you'll see a ton of stuff. We do know it's Ubuntu, but we'll just go Ubuntu 64-bit right here. Select that, and then go ahead and click the next button. And here it's always recommended on a virtual machine, depending on how much memory you have. Since I have 8 gigs on this laptop, I'm going to just take around 4. That's good enough. Never go over into the red. Click next. And on the hard disk, just leave for simplicity purposes, and in all my videos, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Just leave create a virtual hard disk now selected. Hit create. In the hard disk file type, you always want to leave this as a VDI VirtualBox disk image. Click next. Now this is the storage of the physical hard disk, and here you can read this yourself, but dynamically allocated hard disk file will only use the space of your physical hard disk as it fills up to the maximum fixed size. Or you can select fixed size hard disk file. May take longer to create on some systems, but it often faster to use. I just leave mine at dynamically allocated. Click next. Okay, now file size location. This is where you have an opportunity to change the location of your file. You just click here on this folder, and it'll open up where you can rename and store it any other place. I leave this to the default setting. Okay, this is the size in gigabytes. Well, we'll go ahead and take it up to 20, sometimes 40, but I kind of like mine between 20 to 30. It depends really what I'm trying to accomplish. Now this is a little larger install, so we'll go ahead and leave it at 30, 31. That's fine. Hit create, and there it is. Now here is all your settings on the right currently. Now if you wanted to go in and make changes here, you can do this. So with some operating systems, there's specific settings that you can change. You can do that here on the Settings tab, and that opens up this particular window here. Now I'm going to leave these all the same, and of course if I ran into any problems with the virtual machine installation, I can always come back in here and make adjustments. So just click OK there. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is hit Start. And what's going to happen is you have this opportunity now to select your file so you can install the OS. Now, if you had a disk in your disk drive, you can see here, you'd select that. But I have it on an ISO image on my hard drive, so you over to the right, you choose the ISO. You can see in my download windows, I have quite a few of them here, but Peach OSI, which is now called Patriot, I click on this. That's my ISO image, and when you click open, it loads it into the window, and it's easy as hitting the start button, and this will start the installation. Okay, so you can see here what we got, and it says start Peach OS, start compatibility, memory, and boot local drive. So we're going to go ahead and just select that one automatically. And in a virtual machine, you notice when I first do this, I leave these unchecked, and there's a reason why I do this. You've seen this in my other previous videos, is at times you can lose your mouse, and meaning you can't go inside and outside this virtual machine window. Just be aware of that. So now it's loading up, and I'll let you kind of watch a little bit how this works. It's kind of cool. It's got a peach on the window, and supposedly this is going to look a little more like an Apple operating system, but we're going to find out. So we'll load this up and find out what's going to happen next. And I will pause the video. Oh, here we go. Maybe I won't pause it. Okay, let's see what they... Oh, there it goes. It's starting to load. And it's this is the first time I've ever seen it, so we're all in this together. So if it does fail, we're going to find out. So it's kind of nice to see what it's doing here. And if you notice, my mouse has disappeared already, going inside the window. So I'm not sure why yet. Okay. Alrighty, so currently we do have a blank screen, so I'll pause now. Okay, we have returned back, and it looks like the Patriot OS is now running, and it looks like the flags are in the background. You can see my mouse, and all the stuff at the bottom is already loaded up. Although I don't use Skype, you can see that's in there. And you can see the windows are already preloaded and everything you need at the bottom. At the very top, you can see the Bluetooth here. You can see, of course, the volume button, time, Wi-Fi. It's in the radio tray, excuse me. All the notifications, battery power, computer itself. Now install, which we're going to do, but I wanted to show you, this is actually the way we try out Linux or any install. It's called a live CD. So we're in the virtual machine page here, and let me go back to this. That way it's a little, get rid of that background here. Okay, so here we are. So it says README here, have an issue. That's pretty cool. And this is how we actually install the system on the virtual machine. But before we do that, I just want to give everybody a quick look. There's pulse effects. This handles your audio. And remember, everything on the outside of this window, this is the virtual machine settings on the top. This is not the actual operating system. And at the very bottom, this also here controls the virtual machine. Everything on the inside of the window, this is the actual Patriot OS. Okay? So let's just take a quick look at the applications. And this is what it looks like. So there's your accessories, and looks pretty cut and dry. Nothing fancy, but it does look pretty clear. Let's go through the windows here. You can see FileZilla here, Skype, for those who like to use it. I don't. And then here's your multimedia settings. Looks pretty full. A lot of goodies in here. I recognize Kazam, which is actually one of the screen capture video programs that I use on another laptop. Your burning software, and Xburn, which is another good one. So your Office program, LibreOffice, looks like it's put in here along with a lot of other software. Your settings, and we'll go through these once we get it installed. But I just wanted you to show a little bit of what's inside of it here. And you've got Wine in here. That's the compatibility layer for those who like to run Windows software. So there you are, Ubuntu Cleaner. And this is used for cleaning up your system after making changes. And of course, Wine is here for those who like to use that. So there you are, okay? And so let's go ahead and do the installation process now. So the first thing you do, of course, now this would be, if you did this, this would be the very same if you were doing this on your laptop or desktop. You'd see the exact same thing here. The only difference is you can see my desktop here on my laptop, and this would just be your desktop on your machine. So the only difference is I'm installing it on a virtual machine, so you can see this without me installing it on my laptop. So there you are. Spinning there, it's kind of cool. A lot of these installers are the same. Now we'll pick our language, which is English on the left here, and we'll click continue. Keyboard, I always choose the English. Click continue. And here it says download updates while installing Peach. In this case, it's Patriot. If you look at the top, Peach is the original OS before they changed the name. Install third-party software for Wi-Fi and additional media formats. Go ahead and check that. Click Next. This pretty cool little rainbow wheel there spinning around. Okay, now here, this is your options that you would get. The computer currently has no detected operating system. That's because it's a new virtual. Erase the disk and install Peach. This is what you would normally select. Now, if you want to encrypt that drive for security, you check this box. And this is use LVM with a new Peach installation. This will use logical volume. It allows taking snapshots and easy partition resizing. We're not going to select that. Now, if you wanted to manually do your own partitioning, something else, that would be this one down at the bottom. But for us, we're just going to erase the disk and install Peach. Click Install Now. And then, of course, it'll say write the changes to the disk. It'll show the partition tables here at the bottom, and the partition 1 and the file name ext4. Click Next. And now it's going to start the installation process. And here it's going to give us now the time zone. It sees that I'm somewhere on the West Coast. That's correct. Click Continue. And of course, we want to put in something in here. We'll put my call sign KC7NYR. It is a virtual box, but I'll leave that off and I'll put -1. Ah, it already recognizes it on my network. Isn't that funny? We'll just -7 then. And pick a username. I'll pick the same thing. And a password. And they said it's a fair one. And require my password at login. For security purposes, I do not recommend login automatically. So click Next. So now we're setting up the login account and name. So I can now it's going to go through the copying of the files, and I most likely will pause because this part of the video or the installation process could take a few minutes, and then I'll get to the next screen, and of course it'll show you just like a lot of these install screens, they'll give you kind of some cool stuff to look at and to read while you're going through the installation steps. Okay, so this is what you're going to see at the beginning, but I'll pause for now. Okay, so the installation is complete, and this is the screen that I got. I want to make sure I show you this because at times on a virtual machine, sometimes on reboot, things do not always go as planned. So here's what we got. Installation is finished. You can continue testing Peach or Patriot, but until you restart your computer, any changes you make or documents you saved will not be preserved. So we're going to click on Restart Now, and let's take a look and see what the virtual machine is going to do. Most of the time, this goes just fine. sometimes it'll actually boot right back into the live CD. So if everything works correctly, it should go through the regular boot sequence and put me at the login page, since I did set up a login username and password. So let's see what it does. And right now it's just giving us a blinking line at the top of the screen. And at times, if it does malfunction, I literally have to shut off the virtual machine and restart it. So we're going to give it a moment here and see what happens. Okay, so here we are. Nothing happened. So this is a good example of what do you do now? Okay, what you want to do in case it does do nothing and it doesn't reboot properly in a virtual machine, you want to go up to the top where it says machine. Now, the best thing you can do right now is go down here and hit the ACPI shutdown. Okay, and let's see if that works. Now, sometimes this does not work and it doesn't appear to be working. So we have a problem. Again, let's go back up to the machine and hit the reset button. Okay, that's second. Now this is responding. Do you really want to reset the following virtual machine? And I say yes. Okay, so here's what you're going to get on the reset option. So it looks like it's given us something, and there goes Peach OS. Now, again, I do not know if this is going to bring us to the login screen. If it does not, then what I would do is save the state, shut the machine completely off, and reboot it. And I've had to do this when I had a virtual machine installation not reboot properly. So let's see what it does. And this is the reason why I always like to show the reboot, just in case we run into a situation just like this. Okay, so if you remember when I first reinstalled or booted up, excuse me, the live CD on the virtual machine, I had a blank screen just like this. So this really doesn't concern me, but we'll give this a moment to see if it's going to actually boot up properly. So we'll stand by here one moment. Okay, the good news is the virtual machine did bring me up to my login name. So this means that it did install onto the virtual machine properly because it's at my login name and password. So good news, everything's working just fine. So I'll put my password in and see if it'll log me in. So this is our first look, my first look as well, at, you notice it says Peach OSI. This actual name, if you look it up online, it's no longer listed in a DistroWatch website. And if it is, it no longer exists, although you see it here on the screen, according to the Patriot OS folks. And I got that directly off their website. So what they did is they renamed the Peach OSI Patriot OS. So they chose to keep this Peach with the fireworks, and you just heard the fireworks go off in the background probably, which I did. And now it's starting to boot up. So now it's booting up. I'll go ahead and click this, and we'll get a first look at the desktop with Patriot OS. Remember, this is based on Ubuntu. And I'd like to make a comment why this is booting up on the virtual machine. It did take a long time for it to install. And it's probably because of the large amount of pre-installed packages that come with this operating system. Okay, so now we're actually in the system, and you notice that everything on desktop is gone now. And I don't really particularly like this desktop. So, since we have README here and we have an issue. So let's right-click and see nothing happens on the right-click button. Oh, there it is. So let's see what we get here in the right-click folder. Options. We got properties. So let's just see what it gives us. So this particular flavor of Linux, so it just gives me desktop, so it doesn't give me a desktop option. So this is great. Let's do this together. First time I've seen this. So real quickly at the top, you see your volume, Wi-Fi connection, network, Bluetooth, which I don't particularly going to use, so I'm going to remove this, and it'll let me remove it. Next, you have your connections, and then you have your battery. I didn't remove the Wi-Fi, so I mean the Bluetooth, still there. Okay, these are your desktop options. We're going to leave those alone. Again, we're on a virtual machine, so at the very bottom outside, remember anything on the outside of the window is the controls for the virtual machine. Okay? All right, now back to, what's this? Well, let's check this out. There's your logout button. It's red, so that's cool. Okay, so this is the computer, which is all your file systems. So if you're going to download something, this is where they'd be located, your desktop. Okay, let's move over to applications. And one of the things that I don't like is the desktop. So let's tinker around with it. So you can see everything's pretty much easy to navigate. And remember, the Patriot OS is for new users and also experienced users. So I would suspect settings is where I need to go. So let's look under settings, and let's take a look at there's your display settings. Let's see if I have any desktop settings first. So let's take a look. We got panel, preferred printers. Let's take a look together. Software updates, that's cool, right? Time and date, and terminal at the bottom. Okay, so let's go back up here and see what we got for the desktop. There you go. Whoops, I missed it. Let's go back down to settings and desktop. So as you can tell, I do not like the desktop. So we want to change it. And this is our options that are, it's already pre-installed. So let's go with something that's more palatable for me, at least, so I can see what's going on the desktop. Looks like a lot of fun stuff. I'm trying to find something kind of conservative. The fireworks don't work for me. The jets are cool, I guess. But I'm trying to find something that's really not too offensive. Let's take a look at that. So that's okay. And this is your darker look. We'll go with this one here. Okay, also you have your folder backdrops, your menu settings here, and your icons that are all configurable here. Okay, so I went with this desktop. Okay, so there you are. Have an issue, you can click here and read me. So let's see what this is all about. If it opens, and it's not very friendly, so it doesn't want to open. There you are. Okay, software updater, it came up on its own. So since I was talking and changing the desktop, let's take a look at this. Okay, let's see what it says. 870 megabytes will be downloaded. It says updated software has been updated since 18.04 was released. You want to install now. I say install now. It says you need to do close Firefox. I'm good with that. Okay, so I'm only doing this to show you, like, right out of the box, this is the first thing it wants to do, is do the update. So this is welcome to Patriot. Now this is cool because this gives you, and it wants the password to authenticate for the update. So let's put our password in here. And this is what you'd be experiencing right first time you opened it up. So this is exactly what you'd see. And this shows you, notice how big this file is. That's why it took so long to install. I don't need this open right now. So if you notice, it's a little bit big, but okay. Now here we go. Now it's running, since I put my password in, the software updater is running now. So we don't want to overload the system, so we'll let this updater run. Something I noticed is pretty cool. So if you're a Mac OS user, this Patriot OS is built around the look and feel of Mac. And if you notice, as I slide over, it has all these cool things you can, you can go open. And of course, this is also, all these shortcuts are pre-installed. I didn't set any of these up. So if you need anything, look at there, sweeper helps clean unwanted traces that user leaves on the system and to regain disk space, removing unnecessary temporary files. So that's pretty cool. And so each one of these, this is now Ubuntu Cleaner. I read about this. Ubuntu Cleaner is a tool that makes it easy to clean your Ubuntu system. So this is good after you upgrade your system. It leaves residual files behind. Good for you. And time and date here, change that. Activity log. So you can see all this. Hard disk. I'm G-parted. This is one that most Linux users who have installed Linux has available. So kind of look at what's actually available here right after you install. So none of these things have to be installed. And also, this little slide out bar is already prepared for you without you having to actually create these shortcuts. So again, they're looking toward the new user who do not want to either create these, and also the look and feel of the Patriot OS is geared around Mac OS look and feel. And there's your software updates, which is running right now. And we'll let those run as I continually look at different things. This is the desktop that I went through the menu to find, remember? And it took me a while to find it. Here it is right here on the slide out. I did not know. First time looking at it. So here we are. All right here. And then we have the smiley face and lock the computer, so if you're going to walk away. So all this is available. It looks just like Mac OS for those who uses Macs, or Mac, excuse me. Okay, so while this is updating, I'm not going to go through everything, but let's take a quick look of the accessories. And you can see here, your backups can be ran here. And a lot of software that I'm not familiar with is actually in this. This is KeePass X. This is for a password manager program. I heard about this. You also have all your simple stuff you might need. Your notes are in here, right? Your photos and your text files uses Pluma. So again, here's your screenshot is pre-installed for those who like that. And Shutter captures and edits screenshots. So again, you don't have to install any of this. Winetricks works around problems and installs applications under Wine. Xburn is something I use pre-installed for CD and DVD burning. So this is under accessories. Development has Bluefish editor and the monodoc HTTP. Education, games, I don't really do much of that, and then your graphic programs are all listed here. Simple, Blender's already installed. A lot of folks know what Blender is. And then you go down here to photo collage, so you can make multiple photos in one collage. And then they have other software here. Internet comes with FileZilla, which folks use for that FTP. And Firefox is your browser of choice. Mailspring looks like your email. I'd never used this because I've never even heard of it. And Skype for those who like to use Skype, and then XChat. Multimedia, Brasero, which is your CD. You create CDs and DVDs. Their OpenShot video editor. Interesting, that's installed right out of the box. That's a video editing software for those who would like to use OpenShot. And again, I'm not going to go through all these, be too lengthy. But anyway, you can see a lot of good stuff here. LibreOffice is pre-installed, and other would be free file synchronization, and all this other goodie, all the other, and your settings, which we are doing, I did already. All your settings would be listed here: Power Manager, Screensaver, all the stuff that you would need. Also, you have your software update. Your software sources can be changed here, and we do have something going on here. So let's see what it says. It says replace your ETX IssueNet with the later version configuration file. It's usually safe to replace it, so we'll click replace. Same thing here, replace. So we'll let this update. So anyway, that's all I got. I'll let this finish up, and then I'll reboot this, and I'm going to continue testing Patriot OS. So thank you for joining me. This is KC7NYR. You have a great day.